Today we're going to be graphing inequalities. Now we've already done this, right? So the only difference is now, instead of one inequality, we're going to have two inequalities together, and we're going to be graphing them. Because this whole chapter 6 has all been about graphing inequalities, right? I mean, solving I don't know why I said that. This whole chapter has been about system of equations, right? Here we go. So we're going to graph these. Now look, you guys have graphed one equations and inequalities, right? Remember, the biggest kicker when it comes to this is you have to shade, correct? Now, today when we graph them, these lines are going to cross. Now, if lines cross, so if we have two lines that cross like this, there's 4 different areas, right? So one of the 4 areas is going to be shaded. So this is why I told you back in when we did this in chapter 5, that you have to learn how to shade right now. And you're like, no, because if a mark's wrong, we'll just click on the other one. Right? And I know a lot of you guys did that. Okay? But now guess what happens? Now you're going to be shading between one of 4 different areas. So today we're going to have to, yeah, I know, Joe, I know what your question is going to be. Well, we could still have a pretty good chance of getting it right. Guess what happens on the test, Joe? That's a 25% chance of shading it right. Okay? So today, if you're unsure how to shade, which a lot of you guys are, because you guys, I know this. I know I've taught for long enough. I know a lot of you guys are like, I still don't know all the crap. I thought that was just a one-time thing. This is the end. Guess what? I'm going to reteach you how to shade again today. So thank goodness for me, I'm going to teach you how to shade. Well, you do click the button on Alex. Which side is appropriate? I don't have a button either, Anna. What button is she? Oh, are you talking about? All right, here we go. Okay, so Anna, can you tell me how to graph the top one? Yeah. Hold on, let me finish drawing my graph. Okay, Anna, how do I graph it?
Up 7.
So we're going to go up 7.
Then you're going to go down 2. The right one.
Okay. First off, you have to register. Is this a solid or a dotted line? It's a solid line, so it's going to be a line that goes like that, right? Okay, so right here, stop just for a second here. If I had to shade this line, which we'll do this in a second, but if I had to shade it, what point do we always cast? 0, 0. So if I plug 0 in for this one, I get 0 is less than or equal to 7. Is that true? So if it's true, I'm going to shade the part of the line that 0, 0 is on. So 0, 0 is on this side, so I'd shade over here, right? Okay, yep. Will you shut that door, Apri? Yep, so because 0, 0 is on this side of this line, over here, you would shade this. If it was false, you would shade the side of the line that 0, 0 is not.
That's so confusing though. Why can't you just be like, y is greater than, so it's above the line?
You could do that too.
Okay.
But sometimes it's weird, because then you get weird ones like horizontal lines or vertical lines. Or.
And then, but is it greater than just above?
But what about if you have a whole vertical line?
Oh. Then it's the left.
Well, to the right. But sometimes it doesn't work like that. So I hesitate teaching you like that, because in math 2, like today right now, we're graphing things that look like this, and it doesn't work like that. You know, with a line, if it's greater than, you can shade above it. If it's less than, see, but like this one, it's not though, because y is less than, negative is less than 7, right? We're going to shade underneath it because it's less than it, right? It's underneath the line. But anyways, okay, so I always do it like that. I always teach it like that when you're freshmen, because the sophomores, you have to understand it like that. If it's true, you shade the side where 0, 0 is. If it's false, you shade the side where 0, 0 is not. Okay, so there's our first one. We'll shade in a second. Joe, graph this other one for me. Down 8. Up 3 over 1. Solid or dotted? Okay, so because he doesn't know, Haley, tell him why it's dotted.
Well, because it's not
Yeah, because that one's not equal to right there. So in case anyone's wondering, remember I had you guys write this down inside your journal. If it's like that, it's a solid. It's like that, it's dotted, right? Okay, here we go. All right, so let's go back to the shading part. Okay, remember only one of these 4 sections is going to be shaded. So this one, and I'm going to shade it a little weird looking so you guys can see it. We already figured out that 0 is less than 7, so that's true. So we're going to shade this side of that line, right? Of the solid line. This one, 0 is greater than -8. Is that true? So because it's true, we're going to shade the side of the line that 0, 0 is on. So 0, 0 is on this side of the dotted line, right? Okay, so now look at this with me. You guys can see, so there's 4 different sections, and I'm actually going to go get colored pencils for the next one. There's 4 different sections. The section where the 2 shades cross is what you want. So the part that you're actually going to shade is just this section. Now the reason why you wouldn't shade this part is because both shades isn't down there. The reason why you wouldn't shade this part is because both shades are not down there, okay? And that's how you're going to do this. So you're going to shade both individual parts. So, let's do another. Okay, so if I have y is less than 3x plus 2, and y is greater than or equal to -3x plus 5. So, Carlisle, graph that top one for me.
Go
Up 2.
Go down 3.
Top one. It's not down, it's positive 3.
Oh, go up 3.
So from 2, we're going to go up 3.
And then go to, right.
Okay, solid or dotted?
It's, dotted.
So here's our first line like this. Does everyone agree with Carlisle? Perfect. Okay, Lydia, graph the bottom one. Okay. Well, that's kind of weird, but look at that. They made a rectangle. Do you guys see that? Solid or dotted? Okay, so those are 2 things. Okay, the first I'm going to shade it green. Here we go. So now we're just looking at the top line. 0 is less than 2. Is that true? Okay, so 0, 0 is on this side of the dotted line. So because it's true, we're going to shade down there. See that? Okay, let's do the other one. This one, 0 is greater than or equal to 5. Is that true? No. So look, now we're looking at the solid line, right? We already did the dotted line. Now we're looking at the solid line. So, if it's false, 0, 0 is on this side, so it's false, so we're going to shade away from 0, 0. So then you're going to think to yourself, okay, where do the both shadings cross? Right here, right? Inside of that is the area that we want, right there. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, Addison.
Will there ever be a time that you know the shading is
Like, what do you mean? I don't know what you mean, I'm sorry.
well, like, so if it was actually true and you had to shade it on that side,
Then
So the 2 say yes, it'd be just this one. So if the solid line was true, and it'd be down here, then it'd be right there where they cross. So I want you guys to try it on your own. Y is less than or equal to -2x plus 3. Y is greater than 3x plus 8. Then we have one more to do after this one, and then we'll get to your homework. Christmas colors. That makes sense. Slap the tornado and the bird. All right, let's graph it. I'm back over here. Let's go to Cooper. How do I graph the top one? Okay, then
Down to,
solid or dotted?
solid.
Awesome, Cooper. Okay. Back over here. Let's go to Spencer. How do I graph the bottom?
Go up 8.
Okay. Son of a gun. And over 1, solid or dotted? Look at this. This is a nightmare. I should have made that line longer. Okay. All right, we're going to shade top one. 0 is less than or equal to 3. Is that true? So this is the solid line, and it's true, and 0, 0 is on that side. So we're going to be down here, right? So look, as soon as you get the first shading, you know it's going to be one of 2 places. But we got to see where it overlaps. So this one, 0 is greater than 8. Is that true? So on the dotted line, 0, 0 is here. So because it's false, we're going to shade up there. So which part is the part we want shaded? Yeah, the far left part, or right in there. Who got that one right? Raise your hand. Awesome. Okay, we need to do one more.
I have a question.
Yes.
So when you're doing the 0, 0 thing, so the y has to be 0, but
Yep.
then could the,
X be another number?
yeah,
Sure. The 0, 0 is just easiest.
so like, well, so 0, and then does it have to be like the variable, that, like the one that doesn't have the x?
Yeah, because when you plug in 0 for the other thing, it cancels it out.
Oh yeah, that just makes sense.
Yep.
So it can't be the one with the x.
No. Okay. All right, so here we go. The last thing we need to do is this, and I wrote it twice because there actually is 2 different ways to be able to graph these. This is actually no harder. We're still going to graph them the exact same, but we can do them 2 different ways. And the reason why I wrote it twice is so that we can show you both ways to be able to do it. Who could tell me the one way to be able to graph these? Could someone raise their hand and tell me? I don't care whichever way it is. Here's your graph. Can someone tell me the one way to graph that? Okay, so that's the first way, is we can get y by itself, right? So to get y by itself here, we're going to add 4x and then divide everything by 7. So that's going to look like this. 4/7 x plus 4. And then on the bottom one, it's going to be y is greater than, we're going to subtract 2x and then divide by 3. So that's the first way, is to get y by itself, right? And I'm not going to show that everyone how to do that again. I've done that a few different times this year. We don't need to show you again. And then we can go ahead and we can graph them, right? 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so the top one, it's going to be 4, and then we're going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 7. Wow, I really botched creating this. So the first line is going to look like that. The bottom line, we're going to go up 2. Then we're going to go down 2 right 3. and it's a dotted line that looks like that, right? Does everyone agree with that? Okay, that's the first way to graph. Now, if we're going to shade, 0 is greater than 4. So the solid line, 0 is greater than 4, which is false, so we're going to be up here, because it's not where 0, 0 is. I wonder if it's this little tiny section over here. 0 is greater than 2, which is false also. So we're going to shade up here, so it's actually the great big area up top. So the area we want is actually up there. Okay, now there is another way to graph it. Does anyone else know the other way to graph these? Yep, bingo, Maddox. We have to graph it using the intercepts. So the top one, we can cover up the x, solve for y. Y is 4. Cover up the y, solve for x. I think it's -7, right? So we're going to come over here to -7, and there's our solid line. And believe it or not, these would give you the exact same line. See the line right here and see the line right there? They would end up being the same lines if I would have drawn my line accurately. Wait, I did that. No, yeah, if I would have drawn it right, because I went up 4. Huh? Just different looking graphs. This one, we're going to cover up the x, solve for y. Y is 2. I botched something. No, I didn't. Here we go. And then we're going to cover up the the y and solve for x, and x is 3. And this one's dotted. Does everyone see how those two graphs are very, very, they're the same, they're not similar. If I'd have drawn the graphs the same. And then we can go through and shade the exact same thing, and would find out that this is the part that needs to be shaded. Okay, so it doesn't matter whichever way you want to solve these, if they give it to you in standard form. Yes, Britton.
So you just use 0 spread right here.
So this one right here, yeah, you just have 0 is greater than 28, and 0 is greater than 6, which is both false, right? So you get the exact same thing. Okay, that's it. You are going to be having some of those advanced ones on there. 6 problems, that's it today. How about that, huh? Six. That's all today. Oh, son of a gun. Yes, Scarlett.